In ascertaining the nature of sentient beings of the present, we must consider that we are now in the fourth 500-year period following the Buddha's departure from this world. This is indeed the age when beings should perform repentance, practice meritorious conduct, and recite the Buddha's name. In a single utterance of the name of Amida Buddha, karmic evil that would involve 1 in 80 billion kalpas of birth and death is eliminated. Even a single utterance is thus. The person who practices the constant saying of the name, then, is none other than the one who is always performing repentance. 皆さん、おはようございます。Sure is early. The passage I'm quoting from is taken from the 6th chapter of the Jodo Shinshu. This is known as the chapter on the transformed Buddha and land. But prior to getting into this passage, I wanted to select this passage because yesterday the Southern District Junior YBA Cabinet held their meeting here, and they asked me to give inspirational. They asked me to say inspirational words, and so I began by saying, "Okay, inspirational words," and they laughed about as much as you did just now. But following that very, very bad joke, I mentioned to them, one of the things that Amida Buddha's primal vow was trying to help us to understand, one of the main things that the primal vow of Amida Buddha is trying to understand, and that main thing is the Buddha gave rise to the vow in order to assure us and to let us know completely that my life matters. The vow of the Buddha is basically telling us this very simple but important message. Your life matters. Now, it doesn't matter that I'm saying it, because my opinion is not that important. Similarly, it doesn't matter what anyone else tells you, even if they tell you that you're no good, that you don't belong here, and so forth and so on. It doesn't matter what they tell you. The Buddha has made a vow and has established it and fulfilled it to let all of us know that our lives matter. In fact, life matters so much that the Buddha says, I am willing to give up enlightenment itself unless you are able to recognize this truth. Your life matters. Having said that, what does Namo Amida Butsu have to do with that? And that is the reason for the passage that I quoted. Coming to Sunday service, if you come often enough, you will have heard a message that says that Namo Amida Butsu is an expression of gratitude. It is. It is an expression of gratitude, especially because we have come to hear the truth that my life matters, that there is a Buddha that is willing and able to vouch for that fact. It is not a fiction. It is not made up. It is not being said just to make us feel better. The Buddha has told us that our lives matter. In helping us to understand this truth, the Buddhas have awakened to the law of cause and effect. In awakening to this law of cause and effect, a Buddha has come to realize that no life is an accident, regardless of what anyone may say. Life has unfolded in a particular way. Time has moved in a certain direction, just so that we might be able to have this moment right here, right now. And in having this moment, the Buddha is assuring us that right here, right now, life does matter. When we come to recognize this truth for ourselves, this is why we say Namo Amida Butsu as an expression of gratitude. But that's only half the story of the meaning of Namo Amida Butsu. In the passage that I quoted, it says that Namo Amida Butsu is also an expression of repentance. It is saying, I'm sorry. When we live our daily lives, we discover that two of the most difficult words, phrases for us to say are thank you and I'm sorry. We rarely say thank you because we fail to appreciate just how big the gift that we have really is. And we fail to say I'm sorry because we tend not to reflect on the things that we think, the things that we say, or the things that we do. The reason why we say Nenbutsu as an expression of repentance, why it has the meaning of I'm sorry, is because despite the fact that my life matters, I do not always treat it as such. I sometimes take my life for granted. I sometimes lash out at others to try to hide my own pain. I sometimes treat others less than as well as I should. And in doing that, teaching myself that not all life matters, despite what the Buddha is trying to tell us. And in acting and behaving that way, because we are teaching ourselves to look at life in that less than accurate way, we are teaching others and ourselves that no, life doesn't really matter. But the Buddha did not sacrifice everything just so that we can accept this false truth. But it is because we are so readily able to accept and to play out this truth that Namo Amida Butsu also has the meaning of I'm sorry. Despite having been given the gift of life, that is the most precious and rare thing in the universe. In fact, this life of mine helps define the universe as it is right here, right now. Despite this truth, we tend to treat it less than it is. And in this treatment, hopefully, we begin to understand why a Buddha had to work so hard to establish the vow that tells us words that each and every one of us really want to hear. We all want to hear, my life matters. But because of our doubt, because we don't fully understand why I received this gift that is so huge, that we treat it less, as something less. To keep us from doing this, the vow was established. Shakyamuni Buddha appeared in this world. And even while the Dharma decayed over time, this truth of the primal vow of Amida Buddha still remains. These actions of countless people over centuries to preserve this teaching, just so that each and every one of us can still hear the truth that a Buddha is telling us that our life matters and that each and every life is special. And being told that at death we'll be born in the Pure Land, we are being told that my life is so precious and rare that it is something that can and will and does adorn a Pure Land. That my life is a treasure. That we are able to think of all those that have gone before us, those voices being shared to help us to hear more fully how my life matters. That we begin to appreciate how special each and every life is. To hear a vow that tells us that life is immeasurable, and because of this, the number of years one has a physical form does not even begin to express how special this life of ours are. Life is so special that it cannot, will not, does not come to an end. Every life continues to be a thing of beauty, that which can help others to discover the meaning, the true meaning and true value of their own lives. I was not an accident. My life has meaning. My life is special. When I fail to see this, when I fail to act in a way that it corresponds to this, I say Namo Amida Butsu. When I am filled with joy and begin to understand that my life does indeed matter, that my life is indeed special, when I am able to feel how grateful I am at having received something this spectacular, that too is when we say Namo Amida Butsu. This is a life that is being shared with each and every one of us. That we are able to share our existence with others who have a similar appreciation, who are willing and able to help others to hear this truth, is why we call our services a gathering of joy, why we gather to praise the virtues of a Buddha, and why we are able to support each other so fully, because we have all come to understand that my life, your life, all life, indeed does matter. And that is why there is Namo Amida Butsu.